Okay, thank you. Just let me start sharing my screen. Okay, thank you, Gabriel, again for that introduction. And thank you to all the participants and the audience to this webinar series. Today, we are going to be talking about how to set up, how to configure, and how to use the scheduled payments that is a new functionality that has been introduced to Microsoft Dynamics GP. The agenda for today. We are going to make just like a little overview about what is a scheduled payment, how it works in GP, and then we are going to go directly to the application and to the workshop where the configuration is going to be show it to you, and then we are going to make an exercise on how about what how to create a payable invoice or how to create a sales invoice, and then based on that document we can start creating a scheduled payment for the purpose of this webinar. And then we are going to finalize with a question and answer space. So sit down and show the trick to this new information. Well, what is a scheduled payment? Essentially, it's a new document type that has been introduced to Microsoft Dynamics GP. If I'm not wrong, that was introduced since version 9 or 10. Essentially, this new document type allows you just to divide a large amount invoice into small ones, depending on the number of the payments you want to make. For example, if you have an invoice that is about $10,000 or $20,000, you can split it or you can divide it into a smallest one because you want to make several payments. For example, you want to make about 12 payments or something like that. One of the benefits that this new kind of document has is that you can create or you can incorporate interest because it's like you are deferring the amount that is owned by you or your customer. You want to defer it, so maybe you can cause some kind of interest. You can use different account numbers just to track the portion that is related with the principal amount and the portion that is related with the interest amount. And the essential, what is happening, the original invoice, which is used to create the scheduled payments, is sent to history because when you create a scheduled payment, the first part that is done automatically by the system is to create a credit memo and apply that credit memo to the original invoice. And this is a new functionality that can be used not only at the account payables, it can be used at the account receivables models too. So that essentially is what scheduled payments is. So let's switch to the application and let me show you how it normally works. For the configuration part, there is not too much configuration to do. It's something basic. Just to let you know that when you go to the setup section on the account payables module, and you open the payable setup window, the only thing that needs to be done here is just go to the option and ensure that you have a scheduled payment sequence number already set. This is because each scheduled payment is gonna have a behavior like when you're creating invoices or credit memos or miscellaneous charges, etc. So, but it tried to use a separate sequence number from the normal voucher that you have in the system. This is from the payables options. I'm going to show you how it works in the account receivables by the end of the session. But at the level of the configuration, this is the only thing that we need to do. And this is the only thing that we need to ensure that it's already set on the system. Having that, the only thing that you have to do, I'm going to start making the exercise from creating an invoice that has a large, mainly it is based on large amounts of invoices, but whatever you need to do or whatever is required on your company is that an invoice or the remaining amount for an invoice can be split or can be paid in several payments during this time. Okay, so I'm going to create an invoice for a vendor. Sorry, I went to the wrong option. I'm going to create a I'm going to use advanced because I already use Ace Travel as initial. Just to identify that this document is for testing the scheduled payment, I'm gonna say this document is about $10,000. Okay, just pay a little attention to the accounts that we are using here. We are using the 21,100 account for the account payables. Just take in mind that account because that's the amount that is gonna normally take some place in this exercise. So I'm gonna save and then I'm gonna post the batch. This is because my configuration in my local environment said that I can only post transactions through batches. So I'm gonna post the batch. I'm gonna cancel all the reports. And then I'm gonna look for that document through the transaction by vendor inquiry window. Now here you can see that here is the document and the document is open with a 10,000 amount pending to be applied or to be paid, okay? So the next step that you have to do is to go to the under transaction sections in the schedule payments option. That's gonna open the payable schedule payments entry window. It's gonna suggest the next schedule number, which is based on the configuration that I already showed you. If you wanted, you can set a description that's for schedule payments. And then here, you have to look for a document which is gonna be the base for the settlements. In my case, I'm gonna use the document that I just recently created. It is sorted by document number. Here it is. This is the document. Once you select the document, he's gonna show some information that is already heralded by the original document. He's gonna show you who's the vendor, what is the document date for that original document. However, it's gonna set us default for the document date on this schedule, but you can change it. For example, you want to start making the schedule since, for example, in this case is 12th of April, but you can start from 1st of May. It's gonna bring the schedule amount is the amount that you want to defer in the time. It is gonna base on the amount that is remaining for that specific or for that original document. Meaning, if the document total is about 10,000, but only 5,000 is remaining, so it's gonna bring here 5,000. Or something that can be done, you can change the amount that you want to use as base for the scheduled payment. For example, in this case, the 10,000 is the remaining amount for the document, but you don't want to defer all the remaining amount. For example, you only want to defer 7,000. So you can say here 7,000 as the scheduled amount. Okay. In addition, you can, as I told you, you can add some interest, and you can use the two methods that are normally known worldwide, which is the compound under the simple interest method. I'm going to use the compound, and then you have to select what is the interest rate. So what I'm going to say is about 1.1 interest rate, and what is the total number of payments. For example, I want to defer this amount in 12 payments. Then the next thing you have to do is, what is the frequency of the payment? You can have several options. You can use semi-monthly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annual, or annual. Normally, monthly is the most used. So let's use that. The calculate payment amount, although you can write something here, normally is something that is automatically calculated by the system once you push or you click on the calculate button, but I'm gonna do it later because I want to explain first what are all the other information that we have here in the window. The next thing that you have here is what is the document date for the first invoice and what will be the due date for the first invoice. So what is happening here? It is gonna take the original document, is gonna send it to history because he's gonna create a credit memo. That credit memo is gonna be for $7,000. Well, in this case, the document is not gonna be sent to the history because there is another 3,000 remaining. But if we use 10,000, it's gonna send automatically to the history. And then it's gonna explain to you, okay, based on the options that you have set here, the first document or the first invoice or the first partial invoice is gonna be date on 12, and it's gonna be due on the 12th of May. Okay. Something that is important here is that you have to indicate what are the accounts that are gonna take into place. This is because he's gonna use the accounts payable account that was used to the documents to be reviewed or to be credited against a clearing account, and then that clearing account is gonna be cleared again against accounts payable because all the invoices or all the partial invoices that are going to be created. If we are going to be using interest, so we need to specify what are the interest accounts that we need to use. So I'm going to use some example here. For example, I have this account here. It's just a sample account that I'm going to use. Okay, and then I have to click the calculate button. Once the calculator is use all this information to determine all the amounts, so he's gonna indicate, oh, okay, 586 is gonna be my monthly payment, and that will be my monthly invoices that are amounts that are gonna be created. This is because it is using 7,000 as the base amount for the scheduler. If I change it because I want to use the whole amount, so it's going to determine that I change it, and so the calculate payment is set back to 0, and then you have to click again the calculate button. You see here, we have another different amount. The other important thing is that you can see what is the amortization. So if you click on the amortization button, you're going to see in the window what are all the invoices or what are all the payments that has to be done, what is the amount that is for the principal, and what is the amount for the interest. And I'm going to show you what is the balance on each specific invoice. So that's mean that we set 12 payments. So we are going to have 12 invoices. Here it is indicating what is the payment number and what is the due date for that specific payment, what is the total amount for that payment, and the portion for the principal for the interest. Once you have that, you have to post the scheduled payment. I'm not gonna print the reports, but I'm gonna show you later that once that we refresh here the inquiry window, you're gonna see that there is schedule. There's the initial invoice that we did, went to history, and now the unapplied amount is 0. That's because it was applied to a credit memo. That credit memo was automatically created by the system when I decide to post the scheduled payment. Okay, and then an open scheduled payment was created, meaning that is 10,000, and we are owing 10,000 to our vendor. This is because it's on the payables side, but this is just the first part of the process. Then when you need to collect or you need to pay for that specific amounts, you have to go to the routines sections in the account payables series and choose the post scheduled payments. You're going to have several options here to filter, and it's going to show you what are the pending schedules that are the posting pending schedules that we have in the system. Right now, we only have those. And it's going to show you that we have 12 payments for that are pending to be posted. Something that you can do here is you can post all those schedules at this time of the process. So he's going to create 12 invoices on the specific days and with the specific due days. Or if you want it, maybe because you have a monthly procedure which is in charge to create all these documents based on some specific or in some particular steps that you have in place on your company. So something that you can do is just to post all, or just choose which one do you want to post and post it. In this case, I'm going to mark all. I'm going to post, and that I'm going to cancel the reports, and that will automatically create 12 new invoices. Then when I go back to the inquiry window, I'm going to redisplay. Then you're going to see here that for this specific, look at the specific schedule was sent back to history, and then we are having here each payment. This is because I decided to post all the scheduled payments that I have configured. So let's take a look at on this specific, this is the original document. The original document is using accounts purchasing against account payables, and look at the account payable is 2,100. If I go to the schedule payment that I create, it's going to show me what is the configuration that we have here. And then if I go to the specific one or the first invoice that was splitted, I'm gonna see here what is the account payables, and then we're gonna have here one part which is for the interest, and the other part which is for the principal portion that we need to pay in this specific invoice. Then after that, the only thing that is left, you have to wait for your payment process that you have in place in your company, and then this specific invoice is going to be included as your check generation or your check processing, or if you don't use computer checks, you can go to the manual payments and just make a payment to this specific invoice. essentially, this is how the scheduled payment works in the system. Um, I have just showed you how it works on the account payables model, but the functionality or how it works is exactly the same in the account receivables. But let me just make you some explanation or some demonstrations on that. Again, if I go to the receivable setup window, the only thing that I need to ensure is that I have an schedule sequence number set for this specific document time. If I already have, the only thing that I need to do is just to enter a transaction invoice. So let's see let's create a one. I'm gonna use item feed. And I'm gonna say that this is let's use another amount. Let's use 5,000 amount. Again, I'm gonna save it. And I'm gonna post the batch. Okay. Thinks it is complete. Let's just let me check. Yes, it is complete. And then the next thing that I need to do is just to go to the schedule payment option. And then I'm gonna use that original document. I think it's this one. Well, it wasn't the one that I created, but we can use it. And then it will be the same. I'm gonna use this account as a, sorry. Then I'm gonna, in this case, I'm gonna use the simple method. I'm gonna say that is a, I don't know, let's use 1.3. And I'm gonna split this on 10 payments. It will be monthly. And again, calculate is gonna indicate what is the payment amount. And here I can see what is the amortization table that we can use. Having that, I'm gonna post the scheduled payments, and then you can see in the transaction by customer, that payment has been created. Okay, once the document is created, I can go under the routines for the sales series, is same, the post schedule payments options, and I can see here what are the schedules that I have pending to be posted. It works exactly the same. I can decide which one I want to post, or if I want it, I can mark all and post it. Yes. And then you can see here, you're gonna have more than one. Look at what you have created, all the payments or all the invoices that we have to collect from our customer. Once you have this done, you have to do all the process, all the collection process to your customer. It works exactly in a similar in a similar manner. Well, this is all that I have to show to you today in this webinar. Let's switch to the question and answer space. So if you have any questions, for sure we can explain to you.